Hello everyone and welcome back. If you are currently in grade 9 and preparing to join grade 10, or if you are a parent or a teacher and you are helping grade 9 learners, then there is a very important update that you need to know. The grade 10 senior school selection process for the 2026 has changed because previously learners were required to select 12 senior schools, but under the new selection arrangement being introduced, learners will now select only 8 schools. So yes, instead of choosing 12 schools, you'll now choose 8. And because you now have fewer choices, it becomes even more important to understand exactly how those 8 schools should be selected. So in this video, I will explain what has changed, how the 8 schools are expected to be distributed, and what happens with pathways and subject combinations. And I'll also give you some important mistakes that you should avoid when making your choices. Now make sure that you watch this video until the end, because these decisions can affect the senior school that you eventually join and the subject combinations that you study in grade 10. Let us begin. First, let us understand what learners were doing before this change. Now, during the previous grade 10 selection arrangement, learners were given 12 school choices. Now, those choices were linked to the learner's preferred pathway, subject combinations, and the categories of senior schools available. However, the ministry has been reviewing the process, and after the first transitions of learners to senior school, they now decided that for 2026 grade 9, learners are supposed to select 8 schools, you see. So they have streamlined the process. One of the biggest changes has affected the number of schools, and they have been reduced. That is from 12 to 8, as we have stated. And under the new arrangement, a learner is now expected to make sure that they have 8 schools, but these schools, they cannot all be C1 schools or C2 schools. How are they to be organized? The reported arrangement is as follows. You are supposed to choose 3 schools from C1, and then 2 schools from C2, then 2 schools from category C3, and finally 1 school from category C4, and that gives us a total of 8, because it is 3 plus 2 plus 2 and then plus 1. So when you are choosing your schools, you have to make sure that you follow that required structure. Now, why does this change matter? Reducing the number of schools from 12 to 8 may sound like a small change, but it actually makes every choice more important, because previously you had 12 opportunities to list schools, but now you only have 8. So choosing a school simply because it is famous, or because your friend selected it, or because you have heard its name many times, is not a very good strategy for you. So before choosing a school, you should ask. I want to give you some of the most important questions that you are supposed to ask for you to select the correct school. For example, does this school offer the pathway that I want? That is number 1. Then number 2, does it offer the subject combinations that I need? Then number 3, is the school appropriate for my strengths and interests? And then number 4, does the school support the career direction I may want to follow in future? You see, because senior school under CB is not just about selecting a school. You are selecting a pathway and subjects that can influence your future education and your career options. Now, you need to understand something, that pathways still matter. Even at this point, the pathways still matter. There are three major pathways, remember, which are available in senior schools. We have STEM, which is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And then we have social sciences. And the third one is arts and sports science. Now, a learner should choose a pathway based on their abilities, their interests, their talents, and also future aspirations. For example, a learner who is interested in careers such as medicine, engineering, computer science, and other science-related fields may consider appropriate combinations within the STEM pathway. And then a learner who is interested in areas like business, history, languages, law, or related fields may find suitable combinations within the social sciences. How about learners who are interested in things like sports, music, creative arts? Those ones can explore the arts and sports pathway. But choosing the pathway alone is not enough, because you also need to look carefully at the subject combinations. So let us talk about subject combinations and why they are very important. Now, this is where learners and parents need to be very careful, especially careful because the subjects are different. Some of them look similar, but they are different. And also remember, different senior schools may offer different subject combinations. So before placing a school among your 8 choices, confirm that the school actually offers the combination that you are interested in. Do not assume that because school offers STEM, for example, it automatically offers every STEM subject combination. That is not a good assumption. And in fact, it may not be the case. It is not the case in every school. The same applies to social sciences and arts and sports science. Now, the updated KEMIS Grade 10 selection and placement system allows learners to explore pathways, subject combinations, and senior schools. This is very important because the process is becoming more connected. You are essentially moving through this order. How? Your interest and your future career, that is number 1 to consider, and then your pathway based on your interest and future career, and then the subject combinations that fit your interest, and then finally the senior schools that can offer what you have selected. Now, what about the new grade 10 selection portal? Let us talk about it, because it is through that portal that you are going to submit your application. Now, another important development is the new grade 10 selection and placement platform. The official system is under KEMIS. Very important to know, it is under KEMIS, and through the platform, learners can explore senior schools, they can explore pathways and also subject combinations. However, according to the ministry's current instructions, the final submission is handled through the school. So even if you are researching through the KEMIS portal, you still have to submit the final submission through your school. A school is a representative of every student, or the school is representing every student. It has a secure system, and therefore they are supposed to submit those applications on behalf of the learners. The learners' details are first confirmed. It is very important to submit through the school because you are first going to confirm your details. For example, they are going to confirm your gender, your county of residence, your sub-county of residence, and where applicable, special needs information. And then after that, the learner's pathway is selected. Then they select the subject combination, and then the preferred senior schools is chosen. Now finally, the selections are reviewed and submitted. After submission, a confirmation slip is going to be generated, and parents and learners should make sure that they receive and check this slip. Very important, because it is actually the confirmation that you submitted your application. I also want to talk about some of the mistakes that you need to avoid. There are several mistakes that are very important for you to avoid. And mistake number 1 is choosing schools only because they are popular. Remember that a famous school is not automatically the best school for your chosen pathway or subject combination. Then mistake number 2 is copying your friends' choices, because you and your friend may have completely different strengths, interests, and career goals. So you should choose what is appropriate for you. Then mistake number 3 is ignoring the subject combinations. You should always confirm that the school offers the combination that you want, or the one that you have selected. Then mistake number 4 is choosing 8 highly competitive schools without thinking carefully. Remember that the placement may also depend on factors such as the available spaces and the learner's profile. So you are supposed to use your choices very wisely. And then another mistake number 5 is waiting until the last minute. You are supposed to begin discussing your choices very much early with maybe your parents, your teachers, or the career guidance teachers early enough, and then this is going to help you to be prepared and not rush in the last minute. Also, the final mistake is failing to check the final confirmation slip. Once you submit the application, make sure that you check that slip, because it is the guarantee that you actually submitted your application. So with that information, what are learners supposed to do now? So this is what you should do. If you're in grade 9, you should start preparing now. First, think seriously about your interest and the careers that you want to pursue. And then second, identify the pathway that best supports those interests. And then thirdly, look at the subject combinations that are available under that pathway. And then number 4, identify the senior schools that actually offer those combinations. Then finally, prepare your 8 school choices very carefully according to that required categories which I gave you before. Make sure that you do not wait for the final day of the selection exercise before beginning this discussion with your parents or teachers, because it is a very important decision for you and it is going to determine the high school that you join and also the subjects and the careers that you pursue in future. So the biggest message from this update is simple, that grade 10 selection for 2026 is changing. The previous system allowed learners to select 12 senior schools, but under the updated arrangement, learners are expected to select 8 schools. And the schools are distributed as 3 C1 schools, 2 C2 schools, and then 2 C3 schools, and then finally 1 C4 schools. But remember, selecting the schools is only one part of the process. Your pathway and subject combinations are equally important. The school that you select should support the subject that you want to study as much as possible. Also, the direction that you want to take after senior school is supposed to be reflected in your subject combination selection. Now, because the ministry may issue further instructions as the selection exercise progresses, learners, parents, and teachers are supposed to continue checking the official Ministry of Education and KEMIS Grade 10 selection and placement platform for the latest information. You can also check this channel because we keep updating any changes that have happened and have been reported by the Ministry of Education and KEMIS. If this video was helpful to you, please like it. And also, if you want to understand some of the topics that are likely to be tested in KJSEA or in any upcoming exams, please check out our channel because we have organized based on what was tested before and based on the information that has been given by the Ministry of Education. We have a lot of resourceful information for you, so check out our channel and we hope that it is going to be beneficial to you. Bye bye and see you in the next video.